Kia ora koutou katoa, e ho ma, no mai, hai mai, ki te papataka or StayMe Always, bring it to you organic, live and dynamic. So bring me your cups. Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah.
I should have told you earlier.
Hey, I get amnesia, so I got to write my name on my cup.
Well, I like that cup. And let's jump into the healing well. Well, before we get started, and I introduce and have privilege to have my guest on the show, I'll get Po to start us off with a good karakia.
Maku e tīmata, he no tate. E tō mātou matu e te rangi, kia ta kuingoa, kia tāma tōranga, kia tanga, kia mite tau whaia, kia tō te rangi. Ka whakamoi miti nei hoki mātou kia koe ka whakakoria ki tō ingoa. Āmene.
Amen.
Amene, amene.
I feel so blessed now, brother.
So I am absolutely privileged to have Howie Morrison Jnr. on the show today. A charismatic international entertainer, performer, singer, author, public figure. The list goes on and on. Am I missing anything, Howie?
More recently, back to painting. I've picked up a paintbrush because they're cutting our gigs in Auckland. All our gigs have been up in Auckland, so they've all been cancelled, obviously, and Waikato also. So I've had to jump back on the ladder with my paintbrush.
Oh, labourer, or add contract
That's right.
labourer to the list that is a continuation. So look, we are absolutely privileged, and as everybody knows, the Healing Well is a safe place to converse everything well-being, and I have 3 essential totem poles that I talk about, which is mental well-being, Healing Ngaro Hauora, and I'm trying to integrate Howie mai te reo into the show a bit more, so please bear with me.
E tino kereru taku reo.
Emotional wellness, pai aroha ngākau, and spiritual awareness, whakamārama wairua. So, look, what we want to do is, Howie, why don't you give us a bit of a synopsis of you and your life, and then we can tackle a couple of those totem poles that I've just spoken about.
Have you got 2 hours?
Absolutely.
Born in 1962. In a little village called Ohanamutu. I'm still living here at the moment. Locally schooled until I went to the highest school of learning, Wesley College. I went there with my first cousin for 4 years. My actually 3 other first cousins, Tim and the Royal brothers, and they all were fortunate enough to become head prefects of Wesley College. And I was asked to kindly leave and not come back. And after that, I had various labouring jobs. Dad got me into Māori affairs, and I just couldn't stand being surrounded by 4 walls. So I worked on a farm for 2 years, became a firewood and panga merchant for 2 years, painter, worked in the forestry, worked in Tasman pulp and paper.
Yeah.
But all through that time, I grew up with a big influence in kapahaka. We all started when we were 5, 6. And not many people know that we all auditioned for a movie called Rangi's Catch back in the 70s. And Tim got the part because he's the most ugliest and the darkest of the lot of us. So that was actually Tim's first movie called Rangi's Catch. And obviously he's gone on to bigger and brighter things now. But kapahaka has been a big influence on my life. You know, I left school with I left secondary school with Nani. I might have got Māori. Māori, that was the only thing I had. So I had no qualifications, but kapahaka got me around the world 3 or 4 times, and we got a saying in our whānau, have pupil will travel.
Yeah, I like that one.
And then obviously I joined Dad, his band in 1988 as a rhythm guitarist. And that was quite funny because I've come from a kapahaka background guitaring thing, you know. He'd come on and the band are playing and he's singing, when the begin, and I'm behind going, and he goes, what the hell does that sound? So sort of a rude awakening for me making a transition from a kapahaka guitarist to a back-end rhythm guitarist. But obviously, a lot of highs and lows. And I was fortunate that I had one of the greatest teachers to show me the fine arts of stagecraft of being an entertainer, because my father always acknowledged himself as being an entertainer, not just a singer.
Yep.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but that's about it in a nutshell.
Wow, it sounds like you've had an amazing, colourful, fantastic life, and when we talk about our 3 totem poles, I heard you talk about kapahaka quite a bit. So with kapahaka to you, how did that help you? Because obviously it took you all around the world. There would have been your highs and your lows, as you've spoken about. So how did kapahaka help you get through what you needed to when you were overseas? You didn't even know what was happening on the other side of the world, to then bring you back home.
Well, we were superstars when we were overseas. Man, are you native? You Maoris? And we're pretty important. But then you get back to the Auckland airport, you're just another one of the brothers. So it was sort of like you had to go overseas to appreciate who we are. And for me, kapahaka gave me confidence to stand up and perform. And if you see a lot of our rangatahi these days, they're walking around calling each other G with their pants down around their ankles. And but once you put them on that stage, that identity makes them separate from any other culture. And that's why I try and instill in our young rangatahi, be proud of who you are and don't try and be someone else.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's actually great that you've mentioned identity, because we talk about identity quite a lot, and we talk about the first 7 years of our life and how that ultimately what dictates in terms of how we travel and transition through. So, how important is identity? And I know you mentioned about these young G's with their heads down, below their back.
Right.
But, how important is it actually to understand where you come from?
Oh, I mean, as a Māori, it's very important because it establishes who we are.
Yeah.
And I feel, I've got a lot of Pākehā friends out there, and sometimes I feel sorry for them because, they don't really know where their bloodlines are, whereas we, as Māori, can relate to any sort of marae throughout the whole country, because at the end of the day, we're all Māori. We're all been guilty of all those Ngātis, or all those penny divers, or all those in our bushes, But at least we have our own identity and our own culture, and I think that's very important to hang on to.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool to be Māori nowadays.
Absolutely, it's absolutely.
When I was going to school, they never mind that Māori stuff, boy. Learn your ABCs.
Yeah.
Don't play sport. Now look at all our young people; they're making careers in sport.
Yeah.
Have you had the opportunity of being able to mentor any of the young rangatahi coming through, any males and females, and
more recent times, I've been involved with my sister's trust, Manaaki Tanga Aotearoa Trust, and we ran that for about 9 years, whereby we had students that would come on board, very proficient at kapahaka, but it was just about us trying to instill in them, adopt that same attitude in the Pākehā world. And through that trust, my sister wrote qualifications in regards to kapahaka, which enabled them to get enough credits to go to varsity.
Yeah.
And that was really cool, because when our students got to varsity, they decided, I might go down this route. But it allowed our people another opportunity to get into university.
Yeah. Were you actually able to assist your sister in setting up the qualifications and kind of setting that clear direction around where the trust is taken?
I'm the practical one. She does all that theory.
Yeah. So what was your exact involvement? Obviously, you're talking about kapahaka. And what sort of in fulfillment did you get out of working with the rangatahi?
Oh, well, just seeing the development of these young these young kids over the series of the year, how their confidence got bigger, and their self-esteem got better, and many of our people grow up in places where respect, they don't experience that. You know, they come there and we introduce ourselves, and they get up and they introduce themselves and their parents, and you just notice how they treat their parents, you know. Can get effed, you know, oh, piss off now, I'm all right, you know. But by the time, there's one thing we try to instill in all of our tauira is just to respect. You know, you respect someone and they'll respect you in return.
Mm.
So, yeah, sometimes it might have been a brainwashing thing, but I think it was a good thing in the end.
Yeah.
And I think out of almost 1,000 students, we only had a couple that dropped out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, one of them moved to Australia, and the other one decided to get hapu at 16.
And that happens here in New Zealand, but around the world. And again, it comes back to, I suppose, the support that you've got at home in the background.
Exactly. Yeah. You're more or less going to be the person you are by whom, and you know, who your parents are, who your friends are.
Yeah.
You know, like we try our hardest at home, but once they enter the secondary school system, well, you know, they create new friends, and they also adopt bad habits that we all did when we were young, but we're trying to tell them, don't do that, boy, don't do that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And my son keeps reminding me, how many times did you get kicked out of school, Dad? No, that's not the point. That's not the point.
No, it wasn't me. It was someone else. It was Tim Murray.
Oh, you're just like me, you know. I went to school in Kawerau. My daughter, her grandfather was in the Howie Morrison Quartet with your father. So her name was Te Wairangi Merito. So Jerry's her kaua.
Wow.
Yeah, so I've got that connection to you. And then I was privileged enough to be actually mentored by your father early on in my music career, which took me around the world as well. Finished off in London as a Sony music artist in the UK, playing at the Olympics in 2012. And I used to watch you. I've watched your whole career pretty much. And once I found out that you were his son, because I honestly didn't see the resemblance, because your features are similar, but I think you look more like your mum. Well, that's only my opinion. But yeah, once I latched on to you, and obviously because I watched Hunting Aotearoa on Māori television when I was overseas, and that's how I knew you're saying you're equipped tā for the koha. So I've watched you avidly, and that's why I really wanted you on the show, because I've got a similar background. I used to be at Te Whānau Apanui Kapahaka. My first competition was at Takaparapa way back in 2001, and then we won across the north. But you know, we're just little itchy black bums from the coast. But yeah, we have our connections, obviously. Papa through Tuirirangi, and my huatai straight back to Tamate Kapua at Ohinemutu. And so I've always watched you guys with admiration, especially the way you get up and as a family, as a Morrison whānau, because your family, your whānau is infamous around the world. I mean, I remember sitting with Brian May at Albert Hall in London about to do a show, and he asked me, "Oh, do you know the old geezer, Howard Morrison?" I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." It was one of my mentors when I first started out as a young fella. And then obviously, because I got into some trouble as well, so I'm hearing those sentiments with what you're doing when I was a young fella. And then again, it comes back to who you have around you in critical times. Because I could have easily ended up in the gang. I could have easily ended up in jail. And I could have, you know, the worst thing that can happen from both of those, of course, is you end up 6 feet under. And so with what you're doing and the influence that you have around rangatahi men, people don't actually realize the profundity of how important that is for rangatahi, especially when they're coming through their teen years.
What's that word you used?
Pardon?
What was that word you used?
What was the word that I used?
Pro something.
Oh, profundity.
Oh, that's a bit of, there's only not even 11 o'clock, brother, and you hit me with school like this. I never got my school C, remember?
I failed first year school C because I think as Māori, because our tupuna were genius, and regardless of what the Pākehā narrative is, we know that our tupuna were genius. I mean, they circumnavigated the world using the stars. So
the original Vikings, brother. The original Vikings, our people.
Yeah, absolutely. And so the intelligence is there. It's just, I think we're always battling against the Pākehā system that always seems to curtail our progress. But I see people like you're a massive inspiration for me coming through, because I was always coming through probably 10 years after you. So I just used to watch what you were doing. You actually inspired me to go overseas because I wasn't getting anywhere here. And then I went overseas, and exactly how you say, they treat us like superstars over there.
I mightn't get through my head through the door, all these things you're saying to me, my brother. Anyway, what's your range? What's your range in singing?
I'm a baritone. Tenor at my highest, but baritone bass.
Because we've just, we're looking for a new member for the quartet.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
I'd be interested in auditioning, definitely. I mean, but far out. I mean, you're far
That's
out.
big shoes to fill.
That's big shoes to fill.
Have you seen? I might send you a link to our show we just done. We done a tour in March of this year, and how humbling was that? You know, getting 90-year-old people come in there, and I used to come out and say, you know, Whānau, it's like the same crowd as here when Dad was here. I see those grey hair and glasses, and they all crack up laughing, you know, and going to talk with them and they're at full time and signing our CDs and them saying, you know, giving us programs that they've kept since 1950s. And look, can you sign this? Your dad and sign it. And I say, if I sign that, my dad will come back and haunt me.
Hey, I still got my Bic lighter that he gave me. Way back in the day. I think there was
1980 something.
84 maybe.
You used to get writer's pens and those rubbish white Bic razors. You go like this and you look like Norman Gunston when you finish having a shave.
Yeah, I've still got all my memorabilia that he gave me. I actually took them to the Māori Music Awards in 2010 because I was living in Dubai back then, and I got nominated for the Māori Music Awards Best Male Solo Artist. So I came back from Dubai for that, and when I met my kuia and my kraua in Gisborne, so I flew from Auckland to Gisborne. They picked me up, and then we went through to Hastings to the Opera House, and she bought the lighter, the pen, and the shaver. She goes, "Do you remember these?" I was like, "Absolutely."
I hated those bloody things. Not the shaver so quick. Another great pick. Wow, crappy blooming thing that was. Mind you, not as bad as John Rawls's one. Remember his head?
Yeah.
Gerard. Go for Gerard, and your roof is looking good. Oh, sorry, Sir John Rawls now.
Yeah, because he's from Kawerau.
Yeah. Well, there was another member of the quartet was from there, the original ones. Eddie Howe was from there as well.
Yeah. Yeah, because I opened for Johnny in Hawaii one time.
Oh, yeah.
But our music is totally different. Like my music's more R&B, sort of hip hop, but I'm trying to stay away from the negative connotations. So I pulled Jamie into, because I can, you know how you hear your whaiopō singing around the house, and then I get the idea, I'll chuck you on the track, and so I started recording her. Now she's got a track on iTunes, Spotify, and it's charting in the US. And
wow,
yeah, so that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on, so people could not just see your story, but see how you inspired me and how your father inspired a whole generation of artists that are doing it now. It's crazy, man.
And continuing to inspire, by the way.
Yeah.
We had a sort of a funny relationship because as far as Dad was concerned, there's only one Morrison on the stage, and that was him. That's true. And, you know, I formed a quartet back in 1992 when I was working up for Te Whānau Waiparaira. We had brilliant. We rehearsed for about 6 months, and then we performed once. Dad got us on the show to sing 2 songs. We sung one, and then he took us off.
Oh,
And then I said, "What was up with that, Dad?" And he went, "You fellas are good. Probably better than what we were in our prime. But here's the thing: me and Uncle Jerry don't want to retire yet." That was his way of saying, "Can the quartet?" We had a 2-year recording contract with Stepping Studios, and used to be RCA then, I think.
RCA, I remember them.
So he gladly took that contract from us as well.
oh.
And he never, all the albums he did, he never featured me once.
Wow. That's a travesty and a half. Far out. Because I
So,
actually,
you know, like even when Tim won the Entertainer of the Year,
yeah,
for his role in Once the Warriors,
yeah.
Dad summoned him to the house and said, "That was absolutely disgusting, boy, that performance." And I sat there and I was listening to my father and I said, "That's not his personality. That's acting. That's how good that boy is."
Yeah.
Oh, man, you know, you're promoting Māori them with druggies and gangs and booze. But, you know, he didn't have to take it out on Tim. Tim broke down.
Yeah, I bet you he did, especially coming from your father.
Oh, you're a really hard taskmaster, mate, that fellow.
They all are, right?
Yeah.
So when he died, a few of the boys are coming around, come on. I says, "No, I'm going to give the old man a year's grace," because he wouldn't have won. And every time I go on the stage on the tours and that, I can feel him saying, you quit riding hua, riding off my mana. And I'm going, "Good on you, Dad. Good on you, fella." Yeah.
Thinking about you started a quartet in March, is that correct? Did you say?
No, my first one I started in 92 that he disbanded, and then I actually started a trio, Howie Morrison Trio, in 2010, a year after he died.
Mm.
And then last year I formed quartet with myself, Chris Powley, Russell Harrison, and Jack Grace, who recently come back from Australia. And we did supposed to do 14 centres, but we did 11 because we got punked by COVID. Couldn't go to Auckland, Christchurch, and Nelson, I think it was.
Mm.
Have you got anything up and coming at the moment, or is COVID still hindering the opportunity?
You got to ask Auntie Jacinderella. I think it's going to be red lights because the majority of our gigs we had, you know, we've lost over 20, 25 gigs, and predominantly up in Auckland. So hence I'm back on the paintbrush trying to pay the bills.
Yeah. I'll definitely be interested to audition. Wow, but man, you're Howie Morrison Jr. I've watched everything that you've done.
I'll send you send me your email and I'll send you the it's about 1:50.
Yeah.
And you just let me know which part suits you better.
Yeah. The top of my range is the tenor. I sound sweeter around baritone. It depends on what octave your key's gonna be in, obviously.
Well, we can change things, brother, but you know, the thing about Māori, and I don't want to be, you know.
No, do it.
Actually, I am, you know. You think about Māori harmonies are different than technical harmonies.
That's where my music comes from, is Māori harmony.
Yeah, that's when we're working with, when I was singing backing vocals with myself and the Yandles, and we're singing behind Dad, and Carl Doy's going, "Who's singing that part?" So I'm singing that part. No, you should be singing this, something flat fifth. I said, "I don't sing flat. I sing this note because he wants me to sing this note." So to a Pākehā, it doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
But there's nothing like Māori harmonies. You know, you go to a party and he starts singing and then everyone starts taking their natural harmonies. There's nothing better, brother.
Yeah.
You know?
It's authentic.
Yeah. I look, we're in the Middle East, in Bahrain and Dubai, and we're singing all these covers. And because 4 of us in the band are Māori boys, and we were doing exactly what you're saying. We were singing harmonies that went natural to the average ear, but actually embellished the chords that we're contributing to. better, especially when you play them after the show and you go to the after party and all the crew come in and you pull out your guitars. And like, I rate myself as a rhythm guitarist, but I mean, I was surrounded by guitaring geniuses. One called Joshua Rogers, you might know of him. He's from Tōrere. He's a classical performance guitarist. Then there's another guy, Azza McCabe. He's Māori. And then Kire Amoho. And these guys were just genius on guitar, much like yourself. I can play instruments, play them all, but not at the level that you guys play them. I can only play them to write my songs. But when you're talking about our harmonies and the way we do them, you're very unique. And Stan Walker's an excellent proponent of that.
Oh, he's amazing. He's amazing, that boy.
Yeah.
Mm.
No one like him out there.
How has music transformed your life?
Made me happy.
What's music transformed your life?
It's made me happy.
Yep.
Because the thing about music, it's an international form of communication.
Yeah.
You know, and to be up on a stage and sing and watch the emotions of people and then tell a few jokes and see the laughter, that's all about Kiwi entertainment. That, you know, that goes right back to the Dad's Quartet, the High Marks, the Māori Volcanics. There's no more like that anymore.
Yeah.
Entertainers, you know, people who can. It's like when Kitty Takanua come and done a show over here with the old man, The Knight and the Dame. Dad was told, do not communicate with the crowd because that's not her genre. She just sings.
Mm.
Well, at halftime, Frankie Stevens went up to the old man and says, "What the effing hell are you doing, boy?" I says, "You're like a bloody hamstring pig." He said, "Oh, these guys have put rules on me. I can't talk and this and then." I says, "Well, have you ever listened to anyone before?" He went out and he completely changed his mannerism in the second half, which resulted in her coming off, her and her MD, toffee-nosed person, and I will never ever work with you ever again, Sir Howard. I'm absolutely disgusted. The young man just turned around and says, "Please leave, and just remember you're in my town. So please leave and take that idiot with you, and before I regret doing something."
Yeah.
But you know, there was always going to be a clash because Dad's always, you know, he'll write our program out for us. You got on the show, and after one song, he'll change the whole thing because he'd read the crowd.
Yeah.
Yes.
He'd know whether they want him just to sing ballads or sing some old quartet songs and throw a few Howie the Maoris in there.
Mm.
So he could adapt like that. Whereas obviously in other entertainers, they'll just stick to their 1 hour show.
Yeah.
And you can tell after 10 minutes they're going down like a lead balloon, but they haven't got the ability to adapt. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's so true, Howie. Because I remember being on tour with a band called Kaha in the Middle East, and we had our band manager. You could tell he'd been doing it for so long. I was just learning the ropes at that stage. I mean, yeah, I've done kapahaka and lots of it, but when it comes to reading a crowd, because when you go do kapahaka, everybody's just going to love what you're doing anyway because they're there to watch the kapahaka. But when you're playing in a professional environment, you have to actually be able to read the crowd, and you got to play the right tracks because otherwise they're going to give you a bad review. And because they're coming, especially on a Friday and a Saturday night, they're coming there after their week of hard work, and they want to have a good time and they want to let their hair down. And if you play the wrong songs because you're not reading them, then they're just going to complain and not come back.
Yeah. I mean, we got asked to sing at a tangi. Fast becoming the tangi quartet, but never mind. We were there and we started singing ballads, and the crowd weren't interested, you know. So I said, "Have you got a backing track for 10 guitars? Yeah, play that." "What? Just play that." So we started singing just songs that these people could sing along to, and the whole atmosphere just changed. You know, and I feel sorry for my other three mates on the stage though, because when I start talking out of time or out of sync, they go, "Where the hell's this fella going with this now?"
You know, it's real funny, eh? When I went to the Māori Music Awards and you're talking about showmanship and reading the crowd, and we had Richard Witoko down there and his crew, and obviously all of them knew who you were, and your father and the Howie Morrison Quartet, and they were doing numbers that they used to do, and you could see the showmanship and with how they joke around and between takes and all the little things that they do. And it was funny because I was sitting there with Peter T and Dave Hummel, and we were talking about, man, that's what our generation is missing, is the showmanship. And so I made a promise to myself and to my wahine here that when we start playing shows, we've got to incorporate showmanship into it, because people just get up now and they just do their songs and they don't interact with the crowd. There's no crowd participation. That art is unfortunately has been lost on this generation, and that's why I wanted to bring you on the show, because I knew you'd start talking about that sort of stuff, which is amazing.
We're good, bro.
Need to add comedian to your long list of...
No, I'm a very serious person.
Absolutely.
Yeah, of course.
I've actually, because I'll be 60 next March. So I've written a song to celebrate.
Yeah.
So everyone can understand what it's like, what to expect when they reach 60.
Would you like to share?
Hang on, how does it go? Okay. Once upon a time, I was healthy and young. Now my body's falling apart. There's nothing I can do. I totally shit when I fart. Yeah. Never trust a fart when you're 60, mate.
Genius. Oh my gosh. Alright, how am I supposed to focus? Oh my gosh. How are we growing up? Who was your hero, and is that person or people still your hero?
I had a lot of heroes, actually. Many of them were in Kapahaka, you know, because when we first started, if someone could do, so, you know, like compared to entries and whakawātea nowadays, it's very a lot of choreography. I remember the first time a group in Rotorua, they just started like this and they fanned out.
Yeah.
That was the entry, and it was never seen before. And we went, whoa, that was awesome. Well, now look where that's gone to.
Yeah,
you know?
Absolutely. Especially
You
with
blink, you're going to miss it. But my grandfather, Hiwaro Manahi, his younger, talking about my grandfather, Hiwaro, my mum's dad, he didn't like me because I was fair. He didn't like girls, so he didn't like my sister, but he liked my little brother, Richie, because he was a little darky, so he used to call him Kakahi. Kakahi is what we get in our lake, those black pippies. So his brother, Hane Manahi, took me under the wing, took me on a fish and hunt, and it wasn't until he died that I found out who he actually was. He was one of the ones that missed out on the VC.
Oh, wow.
For his capturing this 29 Italians on his own.
Yeah, wow.
Climbing up this hill 3 times to bring back his mates. And it was a week after Ngāti moves, and we've got the original paper where it said VC, recommendation VC, and it was crossed out, and they gave him the lesser one. Well, for about 10 years, all his army mates, Pagan as well as Māori, they fought for him to get the VC given to him. But the Queen would not go against her father's wishes. So in return, my sister asked if they'd give something for God, King and country.
Yeah.
So for God, they gave an altar cloth which sits in our local church. For King, they gave a letter of apology. And for country, they gave him a sword. Now, every 3 years, the head of the armed forces stands down and a new one's inducted. So when the old one comes back, he has to bring the sword back
Okay.
to our people. And when the new one is appointed, he has to come to Rotorua and accept the award. So in a way, it's really neat for the family because his memory will never,
Absolutely.
will remain forever. So he was my hero. You know, and I didn't realise till he died that he'd achieved so much. But you know, man was 6'8".
Wow.
Very, very gentle, and he taught me a lot about hunting and fishing. And obviously, my dad did, and then my other uncles. But when I started on hunting Aotearoa, there was about 20 years space since I pig hunted last. And when we used to pig hunt, we'd take the collars off the dogs because they get stuck in the super jack web and they get killed. Well, I go, next minute they're putting these big collars on and they're pulling out these aerial things. And I said, what the hell's that? Collars. She's gone the days when you climb up a tree. Oh, they're that way, uncle. You know, yeah. Mate, and then they're bringing out these thermal things. And it was funny, we went down to Mount Cook for a hunt. And I still hadn't educated myself on the kararehe we didn't have in New Zealand. I knew we had a wapiti, a red deer, and a pig. Well, then we're going to Mount Cook, and I said, what are we shooting over here? A tar. What's that? What's the bloody tar?
I remember that too.
It's a goat thing. Oh, okay. So we get up there, and titiro whānau, he tar. Next minute, bang, miss. Shit, bang, miss. Shit. Bang! Shit. Now turn the camera in. Bullets. Only got one more. Hey! So I give 1 minute. Right. Then I'll shoot this in the biggest target, and then I'm trying to go for the hero. So bang! Anyway, for the next half hour trying to get down to it, you can hear this booming goat go. I said, don't film this. And we got down and we killed it. And then we did, and then I said, you piece the camera. I says, Pana, on behalf of Charoa, to Ngai Tahu, I'd like to say thank you very ta. Then we got back to the helicopter, and the helicopter pilot said, oh, that's a good chamois. I said, what? That thing, it's a chamois. Oh, I thought it was a tar. He's probably thinking, these dumb Marys don't even know what they're shooting up here. The next day, we're flying down to Stewart Island. And I'm in the helicopter at the back, and I get to walking there. Hey, boss. Yep. Oh, what are we shooting down in Stewart Island? Whitetail. Sure, whitetail. Oh, yeah. Hey, boss. Yeah. What the friggin' is a whitetail? So, in that first year, I got to know more animals that I didn't know existed in New Zealand. Oh, sorry for the French word.
You're good.
No problem.
Yeah, but I love that series. You know, at the end of the day, a pig's a pig and a deer's a deer, but it's how the different whānau hunt, why they hunt.
Yeah.
Yes.
And not one hunter we hunted with Momo Kai. Yeah. Anything they shot, they took home. And it was the manaki, you know, for that. Even Pākehās that cut it all up into packs, and you take that to number 17 down the road and take that down the thing. And, you know, to me, the biggest part of mahi kai is the manaki side when you're giving it to our people.
Yep.
You know, and we got so much of it in our ngahere, in our waterways. You wonder why people are starving in this country.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What is it about, you know, the bush and, like you say, going hunting, that has kind of that spiritual connection to our culture and just you personally? Because we've spoken to a lot of people on the show, and they always reference going into the bush and into nature to actually feel reverberated and new again.
Yeah, well, there's in my thought, there's two types of food gatherers. People who go out and get it themselves, and the other one is people who go through sitting drive-thrus and get that's their food gathering. But, you know, I envy the people who live in the rural areas. You know, their kids are thrown on a horse when they're 2 or 3 years old. They're learning how to make their own bread out of flour and stuff. They're out there milking the cow by hand and feeding the pigs and killing the chickens. You know, and if ever come a day where everything just stopped, all the electronics, all the electricals, everything just stopped. There's no more factories or anything. Māori would be able to adapt.
Yep.
by just going to do mahikai, and that's an art.
Mm.
You know, you can't learn that from a textbook in university. You just go to. So I feel sorry for a lot of the younger generations that, you know, they go to the beach for a swim.
Yeah.
And I tell them, you know, boy, underneath your feet, there's a feed of puppies. Huh?
Yep.
What's that?
Yeah.
That type of thing. You know, wherever we went to a lake or the sea, we didn't come back with a kai. We get our ass booted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it's a healing thing for me in the way that I've got skills whereby I can go to the bush and get a kai and come back and feed the needing. So that's my healing thing.
Yeah.
You know, and just to see that look on old people's faces, especially those who used to hunt and fish, can't do anymore.
Yep.
Just knock on their door and they say, "Oh, hey, uncle, there's some we call them rako hey." I mean, before, you know, you can't shoot those things anymore. Well, currently they do up towing them do up south, up north. But yeah.
Oh, they shoot them down the coast too. Don't worry about that.
No, I think the only ones I get are the one being killed by 1080. So that's very, you know, humbling and heartwarming when you're able to give things to people.
Yeah.
Mm. My dad, we have a batch. My grandfather's from Pahawa Marae on the east coast in Te Kaha. And there's a batch up on the horizon, just up on the hill, and at the bottom's the marae. And it overlooks White Island. We're directly in front of White Island. It's a $1 trillion view.
Wow.
It's amazing. And just up the back is lush bush, and Dad would take us up the back and try and take us hunting, but obviously we didn't get too far. But it was the whole immersing ourselves into the bush, the unknown, and like you say, its Dad is very much so about the hunting and the gathering and providing. But it was also about understanding the bush and the noises and, you know, the animals and just what was actually happening around us. We had Horomona Horo on the show, and, you know, he was giving us the opportunity to listen to, what was that called? I hate...
Kōwauwau.
Yeah, Kōwauwau. So we got to listen to all the different sounds, and that's one thing that actually took me back to my childhood, was actually listening to the sounds and going up the bush out the back by ourselves, also with our dad, just experiencing nature as a child. And we miss it now. We don't do that now as adults.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to drag you back down the line this weekend, so we can do some of that, so we can get into the Ngahere, maybe kill a pig or two, or maybe get a deer. We'll see.
We were similar. We had a place in Makatu, right above the cliff, and awesome view. But you could tell people's different point of views. You know, mates would come and say, "Oh, mate, this is $1 million view."
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay. And another guy, you know, might be a hunting fishing mate of mine, and say, "Oh, I bet there's plenty kai out there." You know, so there's two different ways people look at things.
Yeah.
You know, I used to wake up every morning to it, and I just used to wait for the rumble of the kahawais having the boil up. Yeah.
No, I remember that as well.
Yeah, when the waters boil with kahawai, just like down the Motu.
Well, you know, the most watched episodes of Hunting Aotearoa, we never got a kill, but we hunted with Bo and Tom Tibble.
Ah, yeah.
Those two old fellas, man, they were funny, right? And our director said, because we have an interview and Tom's got his smoke in his mouth.
Yeah.
And we said, "Bro, ask him to take a smoke out." Said, "You freaking tell him to take it out. He's been smoking for 77 years, man." And we just left it in there, and all their swear words and all that. And it was so funny.
Yeah.
But then we went down to the tavern that night to watch the Bledisloe Cup. After the game, I went to bed about 11:30. We get up at 5:30 to do another hunt, and Bo's muggles are dragging them out of the bar 5:30 in the morning. Bloody funny, man. But I love that place, bro, and you know, I envy all you guys living down there. It's fun. I go down and stay with Uncle Kahu Sterling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my Mary Jane, you know, what a lovely people, eh?
Oh, the sentiments go the same way, bro, to our whānau and Te Arawa, because, you know, you guys like coming down our way, and there's a lot of, actually a lot of connection to the toto as well. So
I like going down there because you can, okay, slow down, go back 10 years, when Te whānau Apanui, now
absolutely.
take your watch off. No time doesn't count down
You know
here.
what, though? There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. Life is so hard as it is. You know, if I could go back in time and actually just go back and, like as a child, we'd go down in our school holidays and just go and stay at the beach. There was absolutely no time. You know, as a kid, whatever, whenever, my parents were probably at their calmest because we did nothing. And these days, it's just a rat race. We're on a treadmill going 100 miles an hour.
And our kids are different, too. I mean, we, you know, if we ever said we're bored when we're, you know, 5 to 12-year-olds, you get a boot up the ass. What?
Yes.
Absolutely.
And we used to make our own fun. We used to make, you know, go and pinch the marbles on the parkers at school and come back and make a hole in the ground and play at home. And we used to get corrugated on and make tin boats.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Once and plug the holes up.
Holes up. Yeah.
With tar and then row out in the lake, you know, and the parents couldn't even give us stuff. Nowadays, a beautiful day like this, and they're in with the thing playing this.
Yeah, that's all they do. And then it's funny because I saw a meme online, and it's about young kids today. And back in the day, we used to be outside playing, and there's no depression. And then now the kids are stuck inside. As soon as their battery's dead, they come up to you, oh, mummy, I'm depressed because my iPad won't work.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Just a different upbringing, eh?
Yeah.
Oh, it's just amazing how the world's evolved. And I don't know, it's evolved in a positive way, but also in a negative way. Hence now, as we're talking, you know, the effect that unfortunately the world has had on our children. Is there an opportunity to recreate another show, another hunting show that you...
Well, there's so many out there. There's so many out there, but, you know, people calling themselves legends. I wouldn't even regard myself as a legend. You know, it's a very loosely used word.
Yeah.
But me and Jeff Thomas put in a proposal, never got through. Jeff Thomas done the Outdoors with Jeff. Outdoors with Jeff. Dun, 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 dun.
Yes.
35 years.
Yes.
And we try to do a combination whereby we went and revisit a lot of the families we hunted and fished with, just to see if those old people are still alive and how the next generation is taking it forward. But we were going to go back to the old styles. We go fishing, we just use hand lines.
Yeah.
We don't use these ring reels and rods worth $5,000. We go hunting, we just take a sticky knife and a beaten up 303.
Yeah.
You know, and along the way, in different rohe, would find an auntie or an uncle who was famous for a certain dish.
Yep.
Yes.
You know, and let them cook it, but with the bare basics.
Yep.
I mean, I've seen people make beautiful bread out of just flour, water, and a bit of salt.
Yep.
You know, and when you come home, the kids are going, I'm hungry, and you're going, there's a fruit bowl there, and there's a thing over
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they just want the McDonald's and the KFC.
Yeah. So yeah, we're still going to try and get that across the line because he's a walking legend. As old as Jeff Thomas.
There's a lot of we've got a lot of friends, Tom and I, that mentor young men and take them into the bush and do exactly that, kind of immerse themselves into nature, etc. You know, do you think that's something that we should be doing in schools more so now?
I think so. You know, our kids today are just fed with a silver spoon. You know, they don't know how to fend for themselves. So nothing wrong about teaching them how to survive. Life skills.
But it's also teaching them how we were growing up how many years ago versus going to a textbook and reading what somebody from overseas has written versus an actual, you know, kuia, kraua, koko, teaching our young ones actually how they lived in actuality.
Yeah.
Mm.
And back in our days, we got pocket money, but you only got pocket money if you done your chores.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when I was 12, 13, 14, and I'd be lucky to make $3 in the week.
Yeah.
Pocket money.
Yeah.
Nowadays, kids get given triple. You got 3 numbers in it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going, what did I miss? What did I miss here? Yeah. So we learn to respect property. We learn to respect the value of money.
Yeah.
And we learn to respect others.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. We're trying to teach our girls to respect the value of money, because they think it just grows on trees.
That's right.
They ask for everything. They don't want to do any mahi for it. And then when they do, like I remember when I was a young fella, man, if you didn't do your mahi, you don't get up on the table and have a kai.
That's right. And you had to, TV was off, phones, well, but they had no phones. So you had to say grace, finish everything on your plate, and then ask to be excused.
To leave the table. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. And then I remember going back, I was having a wawata the other day. I said, you know, there used to be old picture theatre, and then we had to stand up before the movie started and for the God Save the Queen.
That's right.
And they go, what? I said, yeah, you had to stand up God Save the Queen before the movie started. Yeah. And then halfway through, they had to change the reel over. No digital thing like nowadays, But it's good to have a reminisce about the bit of a hikoi down memory lane with you too.
Yeah. It's been amazing for us, the privilege to have you on, bro, have you on the show. And, you know, it's a testament to who you are as a rangatawa, rangatira, because this is a beautiful thing about our people. Like, even though we make it to lofty heights, we remain humble, and that comes back to our identity and remembering, I'm just a little village boy from Tamate Kapua, from Ohinemutu. And me, I'm just a little village boy from Whitianga, from the same marae as Tuariki Dalamea and Sir Monita Dalamea. So, you know, we remember that because of our identity, and we never stray far from it. And if we do, well, we soon get a clip around the ears from our whanaunga.
Well, good sort boot up the arse, never done me any harm. You learn not to do it anymore. Now these kids got attitude. You can't do that, it's illegal. Hey, shit. I can report you. Holy hell. Yeah.
You know,
when the old man starts taking his belt off, you know,
Those from sharpening the gas into the petrol tank, pull out that hose. Come here.
Well, again, back then it was one or the other, right?
And me and my brother used to go through, before we moved into Ohinemutu, we lived in a Pākehā-dominated area. And every night we'd go down and pinch all the 2 cents out of the milk bottles.
Yes.
And then go and buy chocolates, and about 6 months later we're going to think, hey, what's this money? They come up with coupons, hey? And I always wondered, I wonder if they've done this just on our account, eh? They used to have chocolates all the time, and we took these coupons to the bunjab down the dairy. What do you want? How much a nice or straight? What? No, this is money. I want the chocolates. No, this is a coupon for the milk.
Oh my gosh. Well, down memory lane, and it's actually been fantastic and awesome getting to know you better, Howie, and obviously your life and you know what you're currently doing, how you've helped the community, how you're helping our rangatahi, and obviously your views, because ultimately people are struggling at the moment with life in general, and you know we need to go back to some form of I don't know if you want to call it what we used to do back in the day. It wasn't as stressful. There wasn't so many stresses, and there's so many things like you were talking about, going hunting, doing those things that can actually make our lives so much easier now. And it's been great, you know, talking to you about it.
Even if it helps our young people, there's far too many of them just nuke themselves. I can't get over it. I had a nephew last week, 14, hung himself. You know, over silly things.
Yeah.
And it's things that we can do now that can help to mold them and shape them, to maybe give them a stronger mindset or understanding. It's probably more an understanding on how to work through all these trials and tribulations that they have on their plate at such a young age.
But sometimes it's peer pressure too.
Yeah.
The parents, being demanding.
Yeah.
Because I wish I was 18 now, in the world we live in now. Hopefully, I would have still had the interest to still hunt and fish. But the opportunities are so broad now, and Māori wasn't cool to learn in schools.
Yeah. And now
we were forced to learn French and Spanish. I'd rather people enter high school at Form 3, what do they call it now, and establish, do 1 year, 2 years, and by the 5th form, explain to the careers advisors, like, I want to do this. So they should be only educated in things apparent to that sort of thing, rather than learn German when you're not going to be talking German.
Yes.
Identify what they want to do by Form 5 and then give them the subjects that will help them reach that goal, rather than them having other compulsory subjects which ain't going to help them at all.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes it's the simplest things that we converse about, but to the system, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But look, thank you so much, Howie, for taking your time to talk to myself and Poe, Teasy Created. And I absolutely want you back on the show.
Absolutely.
We need your comedic talents.
You cut off a while. Sorry, what was that, though?
I said we absolutely want you back on the show because we need your comedic talents and your history and your experience to share with everyone.
But I'm the serious one in the family.
Absolutely.
Okay. Here's a song. You ready?
Where's your raku raku?
I don't need a raku raku. It's a very appalling song. I'll get to the core of it very soon.
Love it.
I got married last Friday. Me and my girl there beside me. Our friends had all gone. We were alone, side by side. All of our friends had gone home when she got ready for bed then. Her teeth and her hair she placed on the chair, side by side. One glass eye so tiny, one hearing aid so small. Then she took one arm and one leg off and placed them on the chair by the wall. I was so broken-hearted. Most of my wife had departed, so I slept on the chair. There was more of her there, side by side.
Oh, amazing. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye, Mama.
Thank you so much. And yeah, we will be in touch. We look forward to having you
send
back
me
on the
your
show.
link and I'll leave my number in the Facebook chat and we can talk and
I reckon you'll be able to do the soprano part.
We'll see.
Ka kite korua.
Ka kite ako. Bye.